Hello everyone, I'm Doctor Who.
No, I'm Doctor Who.
Oh,
I'm the
that's
one.
right, you are Doctor Who. What have you got there?
River Song Diary.
Oh yeah, or is it a Sonic Diary?
No, it's River Song Diary.
You're right, it is River Song Diary. How did we make this one?
We made it.
And look, we can actually see you. Let's take a look. There, we actually made it.
It's hard work.
It's hard work. It's all that. Look at that. We sewed all those pages.
She sold all the pages, and I sold it too.
We did. Until next time, we'll see you later. Let's fly our TARDIS now. Bye-bye. All right, now that we're safely inside the TARDIS, I can tell you the supplies we need to make River Song's TARDIS journal. Okay, as you can see there, we need cream paper, some parchment paper, the brown stuff, sort of medium weight clipboard cardboard for the cover, a PVA glue in the top left there, an X-Acto knife, black one, and a self-healing cutting mat so we can actually cut on there. And then also the blue roll there is a vivid blue weatherproof faux leather finish for all the cover also. And you probably need a ruler and some thread and needles so you can stitch the book as well. So let's go take a look at our first step. All right, so we see here we're going to fold the paper, the parchment paper. We're going to take 50 to 26 sheets and fold them in half. We're actually going to make 13 signatures. There we go. They're listed there. And then we're actually going to cut them to size because the book is a little bit big. So we're going to cut off 1.5 inches on one side and then 1/2 inch on the other side. So we go ahead and cut that out. And then measure off and then cut some more. And we'll put that away. Take a look now. We've got the right size for our sheets. Now we also need a little bit of a cardboard, something a little bit thicker, because we're going to put that at the beginning of the book to help it give strength. We measure that off, and then now we're going to actually put in the holes. We're actually going to put holes, so we're going to sew the binding. So we just take 1 inch measurements all the way through, and then we're going to use our ruler and sort of measure off those 1 inch segments. And then we're actually going to take a little thumbtack tool and actually punch in holes so we can put the sewing through and sew our binding. All right, there's another shot of it. Keep going through. And you have to do this for all signatures. Now we're actually going to sew. So we're going to actually do some sewing here. And we're actually pulling the needles through and sewing through. And the actual stitch that we're using here, I'll link down in the description. I learned from Sea Lemon. Very good demo on how to make this book. Thank you, Sea Lemon, for that. There we go. Let's just get it all cleaned up and we'll all the way through. Yes, that's excellent. All right, here's Jacob taking a shot here, doing some sewing also. Passing through, back and then under, and you sort of make a knot.
This side first.
Yep. Back through and above and over.
Through the hole again.
There we go. All our stitches look great. 2 books ready to go. Stick it in our homemade little vise there. Just take a couple of plywood and then suck it down with screws. Tighten it up. And then we're going to put some glue on here. So we'll pour some of our PVA glue. And we've got sort of a paintbrush so we can paint it to make it easier. I just use a regular paintbrush. Just, yep, there it is. Beautiful looking glue, PVA glue, yep. And we'll paint the sides there. And we'll do 2 coats here. We'll let it dry and we'll do a couple of coats there. All right, next we're measuring off the medium weight chipboard cardboard for the cover. And those measurements are going to be in the description, but we're going to cut those exactly there. And we'll make one for the front cover, one for the back cover. Next, we'll take a look and we'll actually decal out the TARDIS with all the different windows and the pieces of the door. And what I was doing here was trying to make it 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters. What we're trying to do here is to actually create sort of a negative space so that we can actually get sort of the grooves. So we'll take the vinyl and press through. All right, so next step, we'll take sort of some paper, which is 5 by 7, to just sort of make the binding a little bit stronger now that we let it sit overnight, the binding. And we put the cover on, so then we're actually going to just use a little strength here just to get our book kind of ready. So get all the glue stuffed in there, ready to go. We also put parchment paper in there so that the glue, if it's sort of a little bit moist, it won't go through the papers. Stick it in our vise again and let it dry for a little bit. Then we move on to the next step and actually creating our cover, all the different details of the cover. Now this takes a bit of time, I won't lie to you. It took quite a few hours to actually create this, but you use the X-Acto knife and you cut out each individual piece of what that decal that you made. And of course, front and back, so it'll take a little bit of time. But yeah, luckily my X-Acto knife didn't dull out. It's still working. But yeah, watch some movies, do some Doctor Who while you're doing this. All right, next you want to do a little bit of sort of a 1 inch by 1 inch, and then you put like a 1/2 inch by 1 inch sort of corners. That'll be for the actual spine of the book to give it kind of a little bit of a look there. So there's a look of Jacob creating that and gluing it together. There's a little scan of our table, all our pieces of our book, all the kind of windows and door frames and everything of the book. And here I am creating, again, a cover, something to actually glue those to. Now we're going to glue all those pieces onto that cover. So now what we do is we'll take all those pieces and we'll actually glue them on. So the front or the back, doesn't matter, either way, but we'll just take the glue. Another try. And if your glue doesn't come out, I just cut it off with a bit of a knife and it's flowing nicely. I was putting a lot of glue there and yeah, putting all those pieces on. All the little sort of parts of the door, the TARDIS door, the blue police door. Yeah, glue them down, and we'll glue all the other pieces down. All of those. There's a finished product, and there's Jacob working on his.
Yeah.
Next, we'll take sort of the vinyl sheet, and we'll sort of cut that out, measure it up to be a little bit generous in size. Because now what you're going to do is you're going to paint this whole section of your TARDIS door. Make sure you get all the cracks and grooves and everything there to make sure all the paint gets in there. The glue, PVA glue. And yeah, put it all nice in there. There's a shot of Jacob doing his. Next, we're going to put that down on the actual vinyl leather, pull it over, and then use a tool. I used the back end of a plastic knife to actually go in each little groove there, so you can actually pull those in and actually see. You might have to go through this quite a few times. Probably, I remember we spent about 15 minutes kind of doing this, and you keep doing it until you can sort of see what they're nice, sort of a 3D, right? And there's Jacob working on his model there. Look, coming together, starting to look nice. Right, now we'll take off about an inch on either side. Now that you put down both sides of the cover and the spine of your book. And then we're gonna cut off an inch on each side. And we're gonna sort of cut out a little bit of kind of, you know, because there's corners, right? So you want to cut out a little bit of the corners so there's not so many spaces where it's overlapping. And then you sort of glue it down. You can use paper clips there, or clips that I showed, to keep it down, and set it overnight or for a while. And then now what we're doing is we're going to glue the book together to the actual cover. So again, be very generous with the amount of glue you use here. Glue both sides. Put a little piece of paper there, so in case you, you know, sort of make a mistake, you don't want to paint your book, you'll just paint the piece of paper there. Yeah, paint the cover as well. And then kind of measure out where you are, and then you'll press it down. And then measure out the other side. Kind of eyeball it, and you'll put the glue down, and you'll glue the two together. Now, of course, you can always put parch paper and also a piece of paper to sort of absorb some of that moisture. That's what we're doing here. We'll just pop it in there. And then once you're done, you're gonna vise it all together and let it sit for overnight, 6 hours, 5 hours, something like that. There we go. Everything's sort of just in place there. Make all your adjustments. Press it down. And make sure you've got some parchment paper, so you have some moisture that won't catch it there. And we put it into our homemade little vise. A couple of boards, a couple of screws, a couple of nuts, bolts, I mean, and yeah, vise it down. Let it sit for, you know, 5-6 hours, something like that. There you go. Good shot of that one. Next, once it's done, you pull out. You can actually touch it up to make it look a little bit weathered. I tried to use a little bit of paint there to make it look a little weathered. A little blue paint. Make sure you don't put too much paint on there, so it actually looks very, very slight. You don't need to add too much paint. And there you have it. It is the Riversong TARDIS Journal. So here's a finished copy of Riversong's diary. Let's take a close-up look at it. So we see I've painted the front. It's got sort of the contours, and also it's got your sort of nice dedication, your pages, and basically your diary. There's a look at it. Finished product. Quite nice. I think Jacob and I are going to love this forever. Thank you very much. Subscribe to our channel. Bye-bye.